What is going on, boys? It's Tufak, and today is a big day. Now, they haven't officially released boat combat, but we have completed all of boat combat. Now, we're all aware that the actual state of doing boat combat itself is pretty much in shambles and has been since it came into the game. However, you can still do it, and I want to give my thoughts on the launch form of boat combat, how it worked for me on an Ironman, what I liked, what I didn't like, what the worst and best parts of it were, and yeah, just my overall thoughts on the experience. So for me, what started this all was the general urge and need to punch a shark. So if you watch the shark video, I'll link it down below. That was how this all began. I was pretty aggressively just doing all of the sailing training methods. I was doing gliding, charting, salvaging, just trying to explore it all in terms of XP gain. Until one night I was just struck, after finishing all of my charting, I was just struck with the sudden urge to fight sharks. I didn't want to look anything up or Google anything, so I just kitted my boat out to the best of my ability with the rune cannons. I bought some myth balls from Port Roberts, and I just went on my way. That was how it all began. Sharks, I think, are one of the hardest parts of completing this collection log. The dragon hook is a 1 in 1,000. If you're doing it efficiently, you can get about 150 to 200 shark kills per hour if you have all of the balls and the boat food that you need. You get a bunch of free XP while doing bounty tasks if you're going for any of these clogs. If you're an iron going for these clogs, I highly recommend look at the bounty task wiki page, look at what boards give you the tasks. Anytime you're going for a clog, try and get the double task, so the rare drop and then the common drop for the bounties, and you'll get a bunch of free passive XP. So I did this throughout pretty much the entirety of the boat combat grind. But going back to sharks, they really suck. I think that's one of the worst parts of this grind, because you actually kind of, not have to, but you want to use the boat combat for these. It speeds it up significantly. They don't do that much damage, but they do enough damage that you need boat food, and they have a good chunk of HP. It's also a 1 in 1,000 drop, which you either get lucky, you go on rate and have about a 6 or 8 hour grind, or you get absolutely fucked and have like a 20-hour grind for one collection log for the dragon salvaging hook. That's scary. I personally want to go back for a second hook, however, I'm gonna wait for the boat combat launch update for when they add boat combat to the game for it to actually, be a thing that works and is functional and feels like you're not wasting all of your supplies and money on cannonballs that don't hit the target, and when they do hit the target, don't do a lot of damage. And on top of that, there's a lot of macro to actually having the cannons firing at all times. If you're in a place that has 2 creatures, you can red click on one side of your boat, and then in between attacks, red click on the other one. Kind of like if you're doing Kree with chins, how you throw it at the minion and then red click on Kree. It's kind of like that, where it will make your cannon think you're also targeting that guy. So you don't need to wiggle your boat in all situations. In a situation where you're fighting one creature, unless you have the perfect line for both cannons to see it, you do need to wiggle your boat for both of them to be firing. So like, it's a lot of micromanaging for not a lot of improvement in damage, which, if cannons actually hit things for real numbers, it would feel a lot better. But currently, it feels like you're doing a lot of clicking, a lot of wiggling, a lot of boat movement that isn't necessarily the smoothest or easiest to handle for not a lot of results. So that was kind of how I figured that out, was on my first mission with the sharks. Thankfully, we got incredibly spooned there. We got a hook on 6 KC. I stuck around to do 65 of them. I did about 25 minutes of a trip of sharks. But we did get the hook on 6 KC, so it was very short-lived in terms of that experience. If I didn't get spooned that hook, that's probably where we would be for the next 5-6 days here, since we got the storm today. But we got spooned on it, so we didn't need to worry about it. So pulling the clog back up, we're going to next talk about all the items that aren't the bottled storm or these ones. So all of this stuff over here. The boat in a bottle, you've gotten one of these from salvaging. If you don't have one of these on your clog, just look at the early salvaging drop tables. They all have it. The later ones don't. And then we have all of these things. So the Echo Pearl and the Narwhal Horn, these are for boat facilities for trawling. I haven't done a single bit of trawling nor looked into it, but I know this is for like the upgraded facilities. I'll figure that stuff out eventually. These are essentially consolation prizes. These are collection logs. They're rare drops, but they're very much not rare at all. The Pearl is a 1 in 65 from the Orcas, and the Narwhal Horn is, I think, like a 1 in 60 or a 1 in 70 from the Narwhals. So if you do a couple of sets of bounty tasks here, get your free XP, you will almost certainly get a Pearl and a Narwhal Horn within the first couple of trips. So if you're going to finish this clog, these are just kind of like, if you're going dry on one of them, go and knock out a clog for the Echo Pearl or something. Go get the Narwhal Horn, because it very much is just pick up a couple of bounty tasks, and then you can go get it done. And then for the Swift Albatross Feather and the Ray Barbs, these are things that you need multiple of to build facilities. So the Ray Barbs are for trawling nets. I just went and got one of these for the clog and immediately screwed off. I'm assuming I'll need to get more of these later. And then the Swift Albatross Feather, same thing. You need 5 of them to build the upgraded Wind Catcher. Now that we're finished the Miscellaneous log, I'll go back to the Albatrosses and get the other 2 that I need for the skiff, and then 5 more for my sloop. But those are basically, they're very common comparative to the actual rare drops, and all you need to do is a couple of tasks there, and you will almost certainly get the clog before you've even thought about it that much. If you complete 3 or 4 sets of bounty tasks at the Albatross, you'll probably get enough to make a Wind Catcher. You'll almost certainly get 1 for the clog. And with the Ray Barbs, I didn't even pick up a bounty task for these. It was a 1 in 20 from not the highest level, but the second highest HP Ray. I killed 1 and got it on the first kill. So again, these 4 are pretty much just consolation prizes. I would just save these for when you're going dry on one of the other things and you want to get a little bit of a dopamine hit to fill out the clogs. The Bottled Storm. Now, this was the last one we worked on, and I think people are a little bit confused / they don't know how to feel about this one. So as you can see, I'm not fighting these with my boat whatsoever. The main issue you run into with boat combat with these is, 1, you need a healthy supply of boat food. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to kill these, so that's an issue. So I don't want to go make boat food. I don't want to waste my money making boat food. Arrows are pretty much free. I have 70,000 amethyst arrows, so I can just chill and AFK these, get slower kills per hour, and be fine. The second issue, if you want to actually fight these with your boat, is cannonballs and how shit they are. Every time I see someone pulling up to this kraken here in their sloop, I'll watch them fighting it with whatever cannons. It's always rune cannons. I haven't seen any dragon cannon havers here. But the amount of zeros you hit on these motherfuckers, holy shit. I would just count. I'd be like, oh, 5, 6, 7 zeros. Oh, he hit a 12. Oh, 8, 0, 9, 10. Oh, he hit a 10. Like, you rinse through your cannonballs here, and they really aren't effective. Like, when they do hit, they might max like a 15. I don't think I've ever seen a cannon hit higher than a 20 on a sea creature. I just don't think they do. Maybe with Dragon Cannonballs, Dragon Cannon, like, I don't know, but like, let's be real, you don't have a supply of those that you can just waste at these Vampire Krakens. Unless you're a main account that can buy this stuff, like, I'm trying to look at these more realistically. So these are essentially a massive supply drain, or you can AFK them incredibly slowly with a safe spot. Now, if you're the kind of person that thinks this is game breaking, or this is sad, and oh no, you're not sailing, you know, this isn't in the nature of sailing, we've been safe spotting monsters over vents with halberds since like the 4th grade in the Karamja volcano. If they really wanted to, they could just add 1 tile range to the vampire kraken, and we wouldn't be able to do this anymore, and that'd be fine. Like, there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to do that. However, I don't know, this is very much old school. I think safe spotting things is probably the most old school thing that exists in this game. So I don't really think they should remove this, although I would understand why they would. It would be funny if they removed it right after I finished these guys, because then people would be pretty mad that they didn't do it, but realistically, I don't see any reason why they would. It's very much in the old school nature of things, and it's a lot shittier and slower kills per hour. It's just free. It's just free. Like, the difference in upkeep of boat food and cannonballs of actively doing these versus a couple of ranged potions and some arrows. I'm sorry, I'm choosing this method every day of the week. There's just no question about it. We ended up going well over rate here at the Vampire Krakens. So it's a 1 in 153 to get anything from these guys, and they can drop dragon keel parts, large dragon keel parts, sheets, up to 2 at a time, which is crazy. They have the inky paint, and then they have the storm. So it's a 1 in 153 to get any of those things. I got my first drop of 1 keel part. Not a large keel part, just a regular keel part, at 640 KC. So we went over 4x rate for our first drop, but then we actually just got the storm as our next drop at 802 KC, so no complaints here whatsoever. I got a ton of free passive XP. Currently on the loot tracker, I have about 500k in XP just off of the bounty drops. So the loot tracker, you can add up these tentacles. So every 4 tentacles is 9,000 XP, roughly, and then every 1 ink sac is 9,000 XP. So I've got about 500k passive XP. There you go, there's 9k XP right there. 500k passive XP just by killing these guys, plus whatever XP my extractor gave me during that entire time, which is quite a huge chunk. So overall, in the duration of me completing this miscellaneous clog, I've gained probably about 2 million XP between the extractor and the bounty claims. I was 87. I was 87 at the start of when I was doing these bounties, roughly. So, give or take 2 million XP passively just from hunting these clogs, which are, for the most part, facilities that you want on your boat in the long term anyway. In the long term is the key here. There currently aren't a huge amount of uses for being able to teleport to your boat, but we're going to make a video exploring some sort of unique and interesting ways that you can make use of the ability to leave your boat somewhere and then teleport to it. They're just not immediately useful on its face. Like, you kind of have to look for uses for the greater teleport focus, so we're going to do our best to find some of those for us Iron friends. A few examples we've already thought of, which are just simple ones. So any island that you don't have a teleport to, rosewood logs. You leave your boat at rosewood logs when you need to bank a ton of those. Massive. The Strikeworm Island does not have a tele. If you're doing the Strikeworm Slayer task for plates, massive. It's goated for port tasks, Shiro says, apparently. So I guess leaving it at certain ports is very good for teleporting. So there are a bunch of uses for it, but they're a little bit more niche and they kind of take some more thinking to figure out. So we're going to put some time into kind of sorting out a couple of those, and I'll make a video exploring those, which should be interesting to try and figure out. Continuing on, we have the cannon barrel, which you either get it or you don't. I'm sorry. Like, if you're doing a bunch of salvaging, you're either gonna have one of these or you're gonna be pissed off that you don't have one. I went to merchant salvage at level 86, 100k XP off of 87. I was boosting with my Horizons lure, and I got my cannon barrel and the stinky doll before I hit the level 87. So I got that in less than 100k XP in salvage. So sorry if you didn't get it, but that's just rather unlucky. You'll probably be spending a lot of time at the merchant salvage anyway, so if it ends up being your last clog, I wouldn't think about it too hard. You'll eventually get it. And then last but certainly not least, let's talk about the Slayer. Getting dragon sheets. So, a sloop to upgrade to a dragon keel is going to cost you 64 dragon sheets. Every single facility costs you 6 or 8 sheets. The keel on the dragon keel on the skiff, Jesus Christ, I can't speak. The dragon keel on the skiff costs you 20. I don't know why you would ever make that. Like, you use your sloop for combat, so I don't know why you would ever be upgrading your skiff to dragon. However, it's another 20 plates. So you need, like, easily 100 plates to fully upgrade 2 boats and make all your facilities. And people were losing their minds. Assuming, like, people are so dumb. Like, they see Jagex, they're like, oh, these are the rough drop rates for plates. Jagex hadn't released any drop rates. They saw, like, we knew there was a Frost Dragon task in the game. We knew that existed. No one assumed that they would add the thing that they've been adding for every single Slayer task in the past, like, 5 years, which is boosted drop rates while you're on task. Like, go as far back as the Basilisk Jaw. Any item that you want to do Slayer to get, or that you can do Slayer to get, is more common when you're on Slayer task. So people were like, oh my god, to max out a dragon sloop, I need to kill 20,000 frost dragons. And it's like, man, just wait a week or two, wait till we get some actual numbers, and you'll realize it's really not that bad. In the span of a couple days of Turiel skipping for strike worms, frosties, and I did 1,000 frosties off task, I've gotten close to 20 sheets in just a couple of days of working at it. It's very much an achievable grind. If you have Slayer to do, if you haven't done your Imbued Heart or your Eternal Gem grind, do your Turiel Slayer. Now you have more tasks that you can do. Do your Smoke Devils, your Araxites, your Strike Worms, and your Frost Dragons, boys. Last night, I was being a good boy. I was being a great boy. I was skipping for Frost Dragons and Strike Worms. I got Smoke Devils. Did I let the greed for the dragon sheets consume me? No. I did my Smoke Devils. And I got an Imbued Heart. So, if you're kind of soul and you don't let the greed consume you for the dragon sheets, Turiel will lay blessings upon your family. So, I'm saying, become based in Turiel Pill, do some Slayer, you'll get a ton of sheets. It's really not that bad. In addition to the sheets, so you're gonna need a bunch of nails. You don't get nails from Strike Worms. Strike Worms are just kind of like a bonus. If you're dry on frosty tasks, you get a couple of sheets from Strike Worms, it's nice. But the main juicer is the frosties. You're gonna get so many nails from frosties by the time you're done with getting your sheets that you'll have extras. Like, you'll have way more than enough. As long as you get the frosty tasks. So, when it comes to actually getting the stuff, it really is just a game of get enough sheets, and hopefully you've spent enough time at Frosties that nails are kind of out of the question. You also get a bunch of free money from both Frosties and Strike Worms, and a bunch of free prayer XP. So every single Frost Dragon kill, if you have the Bone Crusher, 100 prayer XP, it adds up very quickly. Just from the sailing update, Bone Crushing, I've gained over 200k prayer XP for free. So these are all grinds that, in the macro of things, have a lot of benefits to you, aren't that bad, as long as you do them in the right way. If you go plant yourself in AFK 20,000 Frost Dragons off task, yeah, it's a pretty big waste of time. But if you calm down, if you breathe a little bit, you look at, you know, the Slayer task drop rates and how nasty they are, it's a movie. You'll have all your dragon sheets before you even realize it, as long as you put in the time and the effort. And honestly, every time you get a Frost Dragon task, it's a treat, man. You extend them bad boys with Bracelets of Slaughter. Sadly, there's no task extension yet, but you wear your slaughters, same with Strike Worms. You chill, you AFK, it's so many kills per hour. The sheets just keep showing up, the nails. Oh, it's beautiful. Overall, in terms of getting the clogs, some of them are much worse than the others, and the very clear culprits are any of the ones where you would want to be using boat combat. However, I'm very happy with The items in this system, the things that are available, and what they kind of do and how they change the way you think about sailing. The storm is really cool for that. The cannon barrel and the hook are really just flashy. Like, you want them because they're cool. They're not that much better than the rune alternatives, but you want them because they're cool, you know what I mean? All of this stuff is just so... It has a draw. Having big boat and just, like, flexing that you have bigger boat is... It has a pull that not a lot of things do in this game, and I'm very happy with that. I do hope that they drastically buff the boat aspect of boat combat. Even if they nerf or gut the person aspect of boat combat, that's fine. Although, I do think it would be a little bit wrong if a couple of weeks after sailing comes out, they remove this 10-tile safe spot. I'm done with it, so, like, I think just this being accessible to people, for people that just don't like the boat combat, aren't happy with where it's sitting, it really doesn't feel like it's rewarding you for the time and effort you make in terms of getting the cannonballs and boat food versus how many kills you will get out of those cannonballs and boat food. It's just one of those things where the ratio of effort versus reward is just very out of whack. So I hope that until they make that effort to reward ratio significantly better, they leave stuff like this in the game, because otherwise it's a significant cost and input to get a Bald Storm on an Ironman, and they haven't put in any solutions. There's no active solutions, so I think while it would be okay to remove this, I don't think they should until boat combat is actually fixed to any degree, or to a degree that's actually satisfying and people are okay with, if that makes sense. Overall, happy I'm done with all the clogs. I can get back to locking into finishing 99 sailing. The next goal is going to be 2nd cannon barrel, and then max boats before 99. I want to be gliding in style, boys. I'm going to be gliding with a rosewood hull and a dragon keel, and you can't stop me. We gotta get there, though. It's going to take us a couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun getting all the items. If you want to see the stuff live, we are here every single day at twitch.tv/2factorrs. We've been live every day for over a year now, streaming progress on the duo group Ironman. Pull up if you want to, but I appreciate you coming to the Yap, boys. If you dare do the boat combat, it's fun. Like, the moral of the story of it, it's fun. If you want to go fight things, you'll have fun. If you want to fight things because you really want the clogs, wait for the boat combat update. It's really just go out there if you want to have fun. If you're looking for actual results, log out tech, very strong. Have a great rest of your day, boys. Drink some water, touch some grass, kiss a homie. You can forget the first two. I'll see you in the next one.